to Michael Explains It All. I am your host, Michael Giblin, the OG, and just like me, today we're talking about the Larson OG, the original violin strings. That's right, we're taking the blue pill, like in The Matrix, not like the other. Why do I do this? Anyways, these are a fabulous set of strings. Most string grading charts put them right in the middle as being a very neutral string. Although usually they're leaning a little bit towards the warm side. What I'm going to do is play them for you on my artist violin. We're going to get into it and talk all about the tone grading graph. And then later I'm going to compare them against some of the similarly priced strings, or what strings that I think are similar. So you can hear the difference. Let's get into it. Alright, so there's so much to love about the OG Larsen strings. To me, a little aside, I think the strings that get labeled as sort of neutral or just, end up in the middle of these string grading charts don't get a whole lot of attention because we spend so much time talking about the edge groups, the really bright, like the Ava Pressy greens and the pies, and then on the other hand, the really, really dark, really warm obligatos or olives or all that kind of things on the edges, and the strings in the middle are kind of overlooked a little bit. And I think that's a shame because there's really so much to love. There's a little bit of everything. You have a wide palette of colors to choose from, and they work well with a lot of instruments, especially if your violin doesn't need a whole lot of correction or something. I think these sort of neutral strings there's more to it than what meets the eye. And so I'm going to get to my grading graph here. In general, I feel like these strings kind of remind me of like a caramel M&M, that there's this really nice, like sweet and bright and sugary, exciting exterior. It has a lot of zip and a lot of like a quick response and a shimmer to it, and underneath there's this really gooey warmth, kind of caramely flavor. It's not quite a chocolate. I wouldn't go so far as to say they're that dark, but I think they add just a little bit of warmth and more than brightness. So let's look at my infamous grading chart here. To get started, projection, they're pretty loud, but they're not a soloist level string. You're really gonna have to go to the Il Canones or the Il Canone soloists for sure if you really want punch. These offer a good amount. Just they're not gonna blow you away. It's not like blah, so much noise. Was that a good description? Blah! For color, as I said before, very nice, very warm and even on that A, that's hard to get. The A string is a really difficult string for violinists to get that, like a really clean, pure sound, but still have the warmth to it. Very nice warmth to it. Similarly, temperature has that just like kind of cozy feeling to it. It doesn't feel edgy to the sound. For depth, I do think that these have more, have quite a good bit of depth. I put them basically at 9s. I think, sometimes you do feel like you sink into it and it just keeps expanding, and that's a very nice feeling. I'm gonna keep moving. Quick response. Yeah, these are, I didn't really talk about it, these are a nylon core strings, but even still, I feel like they respond very zippy. A zippy response. There's no real lag. I don't really have any problem with that. And then clarity. This is sort of, I think, the beauty of these strings is that they still have a very nice, clear, direct sound. It doesn't have this sort of broad harmonic spectrum like you would expect. Sort of these. I feel like that's what we think when the strings that are in the middle are just going to be like, oh, just kind of hanging out here in the middle. But they have a nice like focus to them, a nice clean sound. So that's my little graph as I hear it. Let's talk about the materials for just a minute. The E string is a carbon steel. There is also a gold-plated E, which maybe give you a little bit more warmth. It does come in ball or loop end, so specify accordingly. A, D, and G are a nylon core, so sort of a synthetic core as we talk about, and they are wrapped around in an aluminum, flat wire aluminum, fancy terminology. There is also a silver D and G, and that could theoretically give you a little bit warmer of sound. I think aluminum is a little bit brighter, but to each their own. Your mileage may vary. All the disclaimers, yada, yada, yada. There are 3 different tensions, light, medium, and soft. I recommend just starting with medium. Go ahead and play around with the other tensions in your free time. I'm sorry that I don't have the time or ability to review all the different tensions. Maybe someday, but for the most part, mediums are what I just recommend sticking with. Okay, now it's time for the big showdown where I play a bunch of strings back to back so you can hear the difference for yourself. I wish I had all the Larsen strings recorded, but so far, at the time of recording, I only have the Il Canones and the OGs that you'll hear today. And so I'll play those 2. And I think a similarly priced string is the Tomastic Vision strings. I think those are going to be a little brighter, but what the heck. And then these also remind me a little bit of the Warschel Ambers, or the Varkel Ambers. So I'll do those, and then another similarly string that always gets put in the sort of center of the string graphs are dominants. So I'm gonna add those in the mix and see what you think. I know there's a little bit of a price disparity between dominants and these, but not much, and we'll see what happens. See you on the other side. I hope that was helpful. I know I recorded those all in a lot of different rooms, so it hasn't been the complete scientific study that I hoped it was going to be. This is still the same violin and bow though, so at least I'm trying to keep as many variables the same as I can. In closing though, I think the Larsen Originals, the OGs, are a great place to start. If you're looking for a little more warmth, check out the Tzigans, a little more brightness, maybe check out the Virtuoso, and even more brightness and more power, check out the Il Canone and Il Canone Soloist. But I still think the Originals are a great string nonetheless. I look forward to hearing from you in the comments. This is your turn now to let me know if you've played the Larsen Originals and what you think. Maybe you left them and went somewhere else, or you came from a different string and now you'll never play a different string. Let me know these things. I love hearing the before and after stories of what strings you played. Well, that's all for me. For Michael Explains It All. I look forward to seeing you at Fiddlershop.com.
I hope that was informative and helpful.
Yeah, if you want to buy this product, just click right up here.
Right there.
Do it.
There,
We
do
would
it.
also love it if you subscribe to our channel so we can keep in touch. It's right over there.
And if you want to learn more about us, click right here.
Ba-da-ba-ba, Fiddlershop.